I have beats.
That boy look like Medea. Let go, Medea.
Turnover by Lord. Blocked by Armstead. Two into the end zone. Caught for the touchdown! Caught for the touchdown! Waddle! Miami has taken the lead! That's what the I do!
It's your two favorite degenerates back with another Day One Dolphins podcast, once again hosted by your boy Ouch. Follow me on Twitter at YFinsYY. Here with me, per usual, fellow lifelong Miami Dolphins fan, Chief Sut. Please throw him a follow on Twitter at Chief Sut. Follow our podcast Twitter at Day One Dolphins. Stay up to date. Let's get down to it. What's going on, Sut?
Not too much, broski. I'm kind of feeling like Rudolph after he led the boys through the night. Just feeling great.
Because you got the whole gang with you and you got a red nose?
I got the squad with me. I got these little shorties telling me I'm fly.
I think they're ho-ho-hos.
Hey, I didn't want to call them out their name.
It's the Santa Claus. It's the Santa Claus double entendre that really calls for it more than anything else.
We're coming out swinging, boys. I hope you guys are ready because this is going to be a good one. That was a win. That was like almost like a roller coaster of emotions. The whole time was kind of all over the place. You were actually having the Zach Ware meltdown nice and early. You said you were almost letting it out. I'm like, hey, man.
I think mostly it was the understanding of how important it was, because I'm just sitting here and I'm like, man, this is so important for what's going on with the Buffalo Bills right now. This is so important for what's going on for the can Miami beat a good team narrative. This is so important for if we want to, if you want to make the playoffs and, lock in and clinch a playoff berth, you had to win that game. Just a lot of things, man. And I also, we all know a Cowboys fan, and we all have a Cowboys fan in our life that we know, and they're the worst, right?
Shout outs to Coach Romano. Great job with St. Thomas and everything, but tough racket on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, and then we lost on Christmas Eve last year after Tua posts maybe it breaks like every first half Dan Marino stat that's ever been posted by Dan Marino, and then gets concussed and turns into like Nathan Peterman or whatever his name is.
Oh, did we just drop a Nathan Peterman reference?
Yeah, man. So
that boy dropped what, 6 of them things and a half?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I might throw 4 or 5, but I don't know if I'm throwing 6.
No chance I'm throwing 6. I'm getting sacked 10 times before I throw 6 picks.
I too will be
running it.
I too will be concussed before I throw 6 interceptions.
Oh yeah. They're gonna hurt me. They're gonna have to get the cart before I throw 6. I'll throw 3. I'll throw 3 and not even stress it though. I'm just warming up.
But it meant a lot, and I was in the semi-championship of my friends' league with said Cowboys fan. So, some wins mean more than others for multiple reasons, and that one, we beat the fraud allegations like OJ, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Does that Cowboys fan talk to you, or are they doing the whole you beat me in fantasy and you beat me in real life? I got to let it cool off for a week or two.
All right, let me tell you the worst kind of sports fan that you could ever beef with, right? It's the one who's been a fan their entire life. So I'm sure there's been some seasons where they're more locked in than others, right? Mm-hmm. But they don't really be watching like that. And so when you lose, they get to go hard and they love it and they just go in on you. But when they lose, it really don't hurt the same because they're not like in it like that. You know what I mean?
They'll wear another jersey next year if somebody gets traded that they like.
I don't know if he'd do that, but he catches like the fourth quarter of games and stuff. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, do you know that this is like really important for the Cowboys' like fate? And he's like, yeah, I'm on my way home right now. So it's just like one of those things where, you can't hurt him the way that he can hurt you. So it's felt good to win.
They ain't cut like we.
Yeah. I mean, what you put into it, is what you get out. And I think there's a lot of people, I think a lot of fans are, of teams that have been mediocre or bad for so long are are the types of teams that breed the most like passionate and informed fans, because they don't, it's the longer the wait, the sweeter the success kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Look at Detroit. That was a big win for them, and they're definitely feeling themselves. But the only diehard Lions fan that I know hits me up all the time and just tells me how sick it is that we're winning. And it's been such a long time that we've been winning. I'm like,
I got the same thing out of them.
Do you see all these stats for you? Like, you guys have never played a playoff game in your stadium ever. And you're congratulating me. That's sweet though. I love y'all. I love Dan Campbell. I love everything that they've built over there. This is a pro Ben Johnson podcast. So I mean, do it up, man. I appreciate you guys.
They just lost TJ Hawkinson today, but or it was
Sam Laporta, his clone.
Yeah, I guess they'll have to use him. And it's been 30.
On the Vikings.
Oh yeah, sorry, he's been traded. Yeah, I mean they'll be fine. They weren't going anywhere anyways.
Nah.
But he did get hurt. He's done for the season.
They're gonna get bounced by Stafford round 1.
It's tough.
Poetic justice.
30 years for the Lions though, since they won the division, and it's been 33 years since Miami was an 11-win team. So we know
our lifetimes.
You know what I mean? Yeah, we know. So it's cool to see it for both sides. I do know a couple Lions fans out here, and they're the exact same way. They're like, "Yeah, man, how about your team?" They that's the same exact way they approached it. But
oh, bro, you were also gone. Did I tell you that I got wild card tickets?
Oh, I saw that you posted them. Did you pay for them?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm nervous because if we have the 1 seed, I think it just gets refunded.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, which is cool. But I want to go to a playoff game, and the division ones have been on sale. So I either have to
You should wear a Dolphins jersey to the Bills game when they're in the wild card and root against them. That's what you should do.
Oh wow! What if we end up playing them in the wild card round in Miami?
Come on, man! Don't bring that on here. This is a good episode. We're gonna talk about good things that happened, and I got a whole list of good things that happened.
Well, if it ends today, I believe we have the Colts. Correct?
I want the number. I want a bye week.
I want Gardner Minshew. Madness.
I want a bye week. Hey, don't sleep on the Colts defense, but I want a bye week. That's what I want, and I ain't thinking about anything else until it's for sure that we ain't getting that.
You want the 1 seed?
Yeah, I want the bye week. I want the 1 seed. I want to see Kansas City and Buffalo duke it out, or whoever. I want to sit back. Tom Brady's never won a Super Bowl without a bye week.
I believe Patrick Mahomes has never played a road playoff game.
Okay, then. That goes to speak to how important these things are. Miami's lost 1 game at home in the last 20 or something. So,
So if it ended right now, we would have Indianapolis, and that would be the Jonathan Taylor Bowl. There would be Chiefs versus Bills, Jaguars versus Browns.
Perfect. And then let it be down to the Chiefs and the Browns, and let's go.
Go ahead and let them cook, because we would still play that one at home, and then we would have to go back to the bank for the AFC Championship.
There's only 1 team in the AFC that I'm actually worried about. Actually, that's
Cleveland?
not true. Two teams. And it's one of them we play this weekend, and one of them we play twice a year. And that's it. I ain't really worried about anyone else.
You don't like Flacco?
I'm not. I mean, I think it would be a tough game, and I think it'll be tougher than a lot of other fans would think, but I think that we come ahead in it. You know what I mean? He's playing good ball right now, but
it's not him. He's not the boogeyman. The boogeyman wears 95. And if you think Micah can wreck a game.
Amari Cooper finally got someone who's willing to care that he's open, and golly.
Jeez Louise. And now apparently he might have to sit tonight on the short week.
Well, that's tough.
Tough racket, kid.
Tough rackets,
and even tougher racket if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan and you were expecting to get a present on Christmas Eve. And I will say they were very confident. All the news outlets were very confident in Dallas. Everybody was kind of just assuming that we were going to get exposed, and then we were going to have to fight for our division in the next game and the whole 9. And I'm like, bro, where is this cockiness coming from? I can see 1,000 different ways where not only do we win this game, but we blow the doors off of them. But I'm confident that we're gonna squeeze this one out, no matter which way it happens.
I think I had it as a loss. You had it as a win. So,
but that was preseason, and even us talking about it on the last episode. I mean, we talked about their keys to success and everything like that. But at the end of the day, we were both pretty confident we were going to knock that one out.
It was a tough one. Like you said, I was very upset watching this game for the most part, yelling. There were a lot of things we'll get into discussion about, but leading up to it, I mean, all the way back as far as, I don't know, earlier in the month, Micah Parsons saying, yeah, retweeting Tyreek Hill, keep with the Twitter fingers. The only person that's going to pay is Tua. I'll see you Christmas Eve, and there's only going to be one Grinch who stole Christmas. Or when he went on his podcast, Micah Parsons, and he talked about how, anyone could throw the ball as long as you got Tyreek. Well, we cooked you with the tight ends. We cooked you with Jalen Waddle. We cooked you with the running backs. We ran the ball straight at you. And that's not to knock Micah Parsons because we just spent 15 minutes watching the tape and talking about how he might be the greatest player. He could go down as one of the greatest defenders ever, maybe. You know what I mean? Because he's that good. But look like Mike McDaniel, whenever we're going against an elite pass rusher, Mike McDaniel takes note, obviously, and they game plan to do everything in their power to minimize what that person's going to do to the game. Would you agree?
Their effectiveness. Just try to diminish whatever role they have, take away whatever they like to do, or if there's something that they like to take advantage of, just try not to do that. And we definitely leaned on the inside run a little bit more, which is what we needed to do, because Micah is always there to take away the edge by himself. We saw a couple other guys do the same thing, but Micah's going to eat. He still got a half a sack according to PFF, 7 tackles, 2 solo, 1 for a loss. But that's not a Micah Parsons just ruined the game. We've seen him drop 3 sacks in a game. We've seen him force multiple fumbles. We've seen him get pick sixes on top of the sacks. So there's definitely been games where he has single-handedly won it for him. And we just didn't allow that. There were plays where we schemed him out of the play before he even knew what happened.
Yep.
There was that whole clip of Tehran and people talking about his veteran savvy, how he basically pump faked an outside step to get him to bite inside because we were running outside the tackle.
Yep.
Like that was a big brain move.
They have a lot of them.
We watched one where it was basically like a tackle trap where the tackle took off to the next level. Micah thought he had a free run at the running back and gets banged by Bob Jones.
Yeah, man, they're pulling people just for him. They had Alec Ingold come across in motion just for him. They were really targeting him and his understanding of what we were trying to do, and it made it a lot easier. But they have another guy on defense named DeMarcus Lawrence, and he played like insanely for them that game. That was something else. And to have them both on the field at the same time is crazy. There were a couple plays where DeMarcus Lawrence has taken on 3 of our players at once, making tackles.
Legitimately, he's a game wrecker. He is a problem on his own.
I mean, the Cowboys heard coming into this game how they can't win a game on the road and how they're fraudulent. They've heard fraud for years compared to us. You know what I mean? So they had a lot that they wanted to, play for, and I think it meant a lot to them, and they played hard. It was a hard-fought game. Like I said, during the game, I didn't really enjoy it as much as looking back on it because it was like everything was just tooth and nail, and then our defense stepped up.
We had a whole group chat full of grown men freaking out about not kicking that field goal and missing that goal line fade. And yeah, at the end of the day, we pulled it off. But that was one of those things where in the moment, you just felt like it was going to cost us. No matter how well Jason Sanders was kicking, you just knew that like it was going to bite us. And everyone at the house was saying the same thing, like, oh, that field goal going to bite you. It's going to bite you. We're like, yeah, we know. This is a 1-point game, like 2.3 game the whole time.
It's one thing to go for it on 4th, and I think you had said like I don't agree with going for it on 4th. Just take the points, and that's a certain aspect of the game that we have grown to watch Mike McDaniel flip back and forth between, and so okay, you can take 3 points or you give them the ball right here on the most perfect punt you've ever seen type of possession, because it flips the field position at like what, the 5 to 1 yard line, wherever we were. So whatever, Mike McDaniel does it. That's the type of stuff that you're either Brandon Staley or you're Kyle Shanahan. You know what I mean? And there's no in between, depending on if you get that conversion or not.
If you win the game or not.
Yeah, that too. You know, we would have looked back at that real. I mean, we already criticized it, but even worse so. My problem is the week prior, or 2 weeks ago in the Titans game, you call that sorry goal line fade that hasn't worked since week 1 versus the Chargers, and you stand in front of the team on Hard Knocks and say, this is on me. I want to start off by saying I could have called a better play call. There's obviously better play calls than this awful goal line fade in the red zone. And I'm just thinking like, yeah, well, thank God he's accountable, you know? And then here we are 2 weeks later, and the 4th down play call is a goal line fade to Cedric Wilson. And I just like, how? Why? That had me wanting to rip my hair out of my head, dude.
You want to talk about double entendres? I mean, he knows everybody, including McCarthy and Micah and all of them. They all watched Hard Knocks too. And they know what he said, that, you know, he could have called a better play in that situation and he'll do better next time. There's no way he calls the same thing again. He just said the other day that he wouldn't do this again. It's just a mind game. Jedi mind tricks, dude. I'm going to chalk it up as that and just live there. And if people want to argue it, they can argue with the wall. But that's what I'm going with. My coach is a super genius. He makes mistakes for sure. Again, kick it. But I can actually respect that play call, because everyone and their mother is probably keying in on Tyreek Hill. You have people that are going to be concerned with actually just taking away the run, so you probably have some sort of pressure coming, so you got to get rid of it quick. And if you're just going to get rid of it quick and not even take a read, I mean, throw it to the 3rd leading receiver on the team, who people might not necessarily think is going to be schemed up for a play.
I mean, just get rid of the play call. Stop doing it. I'm tired of it. There's nothing anyone can tell me that makes it okay to call a play call that hasn't worked like 5 out of the last 5 times you called it, and it's a low percentage, and you did it on 4th down. Jesus, come on.
It'll work eventually.
What? If you put me out there instead of Tua, it might work eventually, but we ain't gonna do it every week.
I mean, if it was you out there instead of Tua, I don't think we'd have any turnovers on the season.
You'd have a way better podcast too.
Yeah, and you'd get fined by the league. But I mean, based off of how many times they chipped Micah and how many different bodies they used to do it, I think McDaniel at least skims through the pod, or maybe listens at like double speed or something like that. Because
if you're listening, McDaniel, please, I'll do anything. Don't call that play again in the red zone.
A good job on not calling those reverses to Tyreek this week. The end arounds, the straight up little jet sweeps. You didn't run any of that. I was hoping you didn't. Thank you, because it wasn't going to work. The way DeMarcus Lawrence was blowing stuff up, the way we knew Micah was going to blow stuff up, even with the extra attention. Great job. I think we called a really smart, I guess it was more of a hard-nosed game than we typically call. Yeah, we threw a couple bombs early and went into feed Reek mode for a minute, but that's okay. We ran the ball efficiently between the few guys that we used. I think seeing A-Train and Jeff Wilson both get 5. A-Chain got 7. Wilson got 5. I'm cool with that. That was just clutch runs at clutch times where you just had to continue to establish the run and not try to get cute with the passing game. And it worked. In the times that we needed to get flashy and make something happen, we did it. And the times where we needed to just grind out 4 yards, we did it. So I think it kind of preps us pretty well for Baltimore. Baltimore's going to be really physical too, and we've kind of struggled this year versus the extra physical teams. Part of it, I will say, is the lack of officiating in our favor. Because, yeah, Philly is a physical team, but how does a physical team get no penalties? That doesn't make any sense.
There's been a lot of them. There's been that Titans delay a game on the defense one, the Chiefs one where they let it shouldn't have been a catch and all of a sudden it's a lateral touchdown. But
all physical teams though, and Baltimore's going to be physical too. Dallas is physical. They're physical in the run game, and we took that away.
No, this felt very physical. This was like felt like a playoff game. It flat out. It felt like a playoff game. It felt like it could have been a Super Bowl game. Like, it was a tough matchup between two teams that do not play each other often.
Did you see
good
that
teams.
It was the most watched show on TV since 1995?
No, I did not. I saw the numbers for the Baltimore Niners game, but I didn't see that.
Yeah, ours hit the most viewership literally across anything since 95, including Super Bowls and everything else.
I did get a lot of texts from people who know that I'm a Dolphins fan. They were obviously watching, but
bro, you had to watch. It's Christmas Eve, the off vibes. You're chilling at the crib.
Yeah. Did you know that that sorry snap or whatever where the ball was on the ground for Tua, PFF charted as a fumble, credited to Tua, and there's been a lot of like little drops or something like that have racked up a ridiculous amount of fumble numbers for Tua this season.
Yeah, it's absurd. It looks way worse than it actually is, but I've kind of let that go. I don't know.
No, it's just, go down some good things that I saw in the game. Just a couple names that like some unsung guys. We'll give a game ball out in a second, but Rob Jones, Jeff Wilson, Cedric Wilson, Durham Smythe. This is a game where a lot of these, guys who don't get the ball very often this season made a huge impact. Cedric Wilson had a couple big impactful plays. Jeff Wilson came in, checked in. You could tell he had like fresh legs. He hadn't been running, because we looked at a play where Raheem would have taken it to the house. He had a little bit of opening. Devon Achane, like you can tell they're playing through a little bit of injuries. So to see Jeff Wilson check in and look mean and look like what we've been begging for on the podcast, when everyone knows you're going to run the ball, everyone in the stadium knows you're going to run the ball. The defense, you, the coaches, the fans, refs, everybody. And you still convert on third downs and short yardage situations. We've been begging for that. There's your guy. Jeff Wilson is the guy to do it. And he came in and did it.
The whole country watching, playoffs on the line, literally one of the most high pressure moments probably of most of those guys' career. And Jeff just thugs it out.
I mean, he's used to it. He knows the deal.
He did it with the Niners, but how much playing, we'd have to go back and look at how much playing time and all that he had and how many carries he had. We know Raheem's built for it. We've seen a 4-touchdown game out of him in the playoffs. We know he gets busy.
We've seen him do it for our team and for other teams, if we're being honest.
Yeah, he did it for Buffalo last year. So I was thinking about it in the car ride up earlier. This is a team that, yes, they're young. And yes, people always want to talk about, playoff experience is vital. If we don't get the 1 seed and we do have 2 home games in the playoffs and then ultimately have to play Baltimore, if Baltimore gets knocked out, we have home field through the whole playoffs. That's 3 games of statistics and numbers and things that just kind of push these guys up like a notch, just in kind of the NFL hierarchy, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And they all have playoff experience from last year. It's not favorable, but that was still a close game with your third string quarterback on the road.
Yeah.
And it was winnable. And there was guys stepping up, and now we have an opportunity to really put up some playoff numbers. When you have the people's tight end catching all 5 of his targets, 56 yards, hitting his blocks, that one block, quote unquote block, the DeMarcus Lawrence play, he looks like it's his fault at like your first time watching it, but when you play it back, he gets pushed by Tehran, and Tehran completely whiffs on DeMarcus, and it's basically his fault. Yeah,
the play where DeMarcus took on 3 people is what you're talking about.
Yeah. Outside of that one, which just looked ugly on film, Durham was solid.
And Tua's giving it to everybody underneath because they're committing to Tyreek Hill, and instead of forcing it, and watching what may or may not happen. We watched Tyreek make some really highly contested catches in scenarios where they know that he's getting the ball, but we're getting it down to the running backs, we're getting it to the tight ends, and they were just really easy conversions. It made it an easier drive. It really helped glue drives together. Granted, Tua missed a couple throws that we never see him miss that are like,
yeah.
And
I was going to ask you, what did you think of his game?
I thought he played good to very good, somewhere in between. You could give it either, because there was a lot of pressure on the ones that he was a little bit inaccurate, but it worries me when you see him a little inaccurate in the beginning, because he tends to be pretty consistent with what you're going to see out of him. If he's hyper accurate in the beginning of the game, he's probably going to be hyper accurate for the rest of the game. If he comes out missing easy passes he normally doesn't miss, you're probably going to see that linger throughout the game. You know what I mean? Would you agree with that?
He starts to shake it a little bit after a while, but yeah, if he starts off bumpy, he's going to have 2 or 3. I call him just bumpy Tua. You have crackhead Tua, where he just throws an interception in the middle of the field to no one. But then you have bumpy Tua, who can't fully push a ball outside on an out route and just lead the receiver. He kind of skips it at him. Or there's just kind of a mental miscue with someone that's supposed to run out and they run in, and he kind of skips one. Just the little bumpy ones.
The ones that you're talking about.
He had none. He was just cyborg mode.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the Tua I want to see this week and the following week.
I got in an argument with a guy who's been a defensive high school and awful college coach like months ago. And his whole shtick was, you never see Tua drop back to throw a deep pass until they're past the 40-yard line, their own 40-yard line. And I was like, that's not true. And yeah, I can look up a handful of times, but that's his thing. He's saying, well, they just don't do it. They just don't do it. McDaniel won't do it. Like, that's why, because he can't do it. And I made sure to send him this one, man. In third down, mind you, 3rd and 8, in your own goal, people bearing down on you, where after you just missed a pretty much guaranteed walk-in touchdown to Tyreek Hill on 2nd down, and he just doesn't catch it. The next play, shot play down the sideline. I think it was like a 48, 50-yard pass or something like that while you're in your own end zone on 3rd down. I don't even know the guy's name on Twitter, but he says he needs a job. He's a defensive coach. Just don't hire him. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I think you should stay unemployed, big dog. That's all I know.
Hey, man, I don't know what to tell you. It's none of my business.
Go back to the drawing board, big boy. I don't know.
Fangio's drawing board went hard this week.
Especially in the second half, the criticism he got about not being able to adjust. Look at it, man. Look at it. You know that if everything's going wrong in a game early, that you're going to see adjustments. Now, granted, when the game falls apart at the end, there's not very much you can do. An example, the Titans game. There's not a lot of time to make adjustments when they're losing it in the last 4 minutes. But if you're in the locker room or it's halftime, he makes changes. That he does. And he's very good at when he decides to dial up pressure. So like he'll get a feel for the game, not dial up pressure, and then wait until you're in a needed scenario and then just send 5 at you, send 6 at you.
We watched on film, he sent 6 a couple times on like big downs out of nowhere, where he was just running like his little cover six, playing safe, boom, send 6 and runs a man on you. Like,
yeah,
absolutely absurd. And that 6 gets there because the O-line's so disoriented and they almost look disheveled. And that's a really good, I don't know if they're still ranked top 5, but that's a very good offensive line. And they gave up 4 sacks to go with all those pressures.
They were missing a very good D lineman, but I think they had they were missing a good offensive tackle too. What's his name? Jones.
Tyron Smith.
Or Smith, yeah, Tyron Smith. But other than that, I mean, we were playing with 4 backups, so what are we talking about here,
Bro, you know what I'm saying? Like, Duke Riley's a backup, Van Ginkel's a backup.
We're playing 4 backups on the offensive line.
You know what I'm... Dog.
4. Right tackle backup, right guard backup, center backup, left guard backup. 4 out of 5. Teron Armstead was the only starter on the offensive line.
Yeah, true, because Austin Jackson didn't play.
Yep. So I don't want to hear anything about that. But if you were to give a game ball out, you only get 1 on offense and 1 on defense. So you go ahead and pick your offense.
I mean, you know me. I'll give out 6 or 7 of those things.
I know you get one.
For offense,
And you get a special mention, but you got to mention the play that made you mention it. How about that?
all right, that's fair. So my honorable mention, I'll honestly go with Jeff Wilson on the limited touches, on the world is watching, third down, we need a couple yards, that way we can literally put this game away play. Just off of that was beautiful. We've been screaming and pounding the table for more Hefe for the last probably 2 months.
Yep, and I respect him.
But hey, that is our boy. Love it. So that's my honorable mention. But my game ball on offense, what does Zach Ware call him?
Come on,
Bob
man.
Jones, professional guard.
Yeah.
That guy, for being some undrafted free agent guy we signed off the street randomly a couple years ago, he's grinded his way up into somebody that we can start, bro.
I mean, they're
As well
body
as-
movers.
Dog, he moves people.
They might
in
not
the run
be-
game.
Yeah, I was
his own
gonna
in
say.
the pass, but like in the run game specifically, if you see him coming, you're not just gonna stand him up and set
he's-
the edge or do whatever you think you're gonna do.
He's going to put a
gonna move
barbecue
you.
rib on you.
Oh man, he's gonna put them hands on you, the mittens, boy, and he's gonna get you going.
When they-
I'll tell you what.
That play where they pulled him, when you're talking about Micah Parsons thinks he's going to get a free look, and they pull Robert Jones off that left side and then have him swing out, and he just whacks him, boy.
Oh man, and obviously, yeah. So like playing with 4 backup linemen is never fun. Liam, I guess, was the swing guard before Rob Jones started taking off, and ever since Rob Jones has taken off, as long as he's healthy, he's playing. Whether it's him filling in for somebody or taking somebody's gerb, whatever it might be, he goes to work. So that's my offensive game ball. Who do you got on offense?
All right, special mention. And I'm just going to give it because, they don't get these that much, and we should have talked about them already. But special mention is going to go to Jake Bailey, the punter, because he's been awful all year. And I think he ranks like 32 out of 32 of like net punt yards. He hasn't been good. But boy, game on the line. Need one out of you. Drops it and rolls it to the 1 yard line. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Shout out to Elijah Campbell for being down there and manhandling somebody and then actually grabbing it. But special mention for him. Thank you, Jake Bailey, for coming through. Special teams mean something and contributes to these wins. And if you don't believe so, look no further than to the man that I will apologize to formally, Jason Sanders, who I will give the game ball, 5 game balls. You can have as many game balls as you want, J-Man. Very sorry for anything I may or may not have said about you. I think you're
Once or
sorry
twice.
too. I don't even know what you said, but you're sorry too.
Yeah, I've said plenty, and I don't know if I'm sorry because I meant it.
Nah, he just
That was a
he went crazy.
Give the game ball, but that doesn't change the entire past.
Nobody gets a season ball, you know what I mean? But
You got me a nice present after you cheated on me. All right, sick. Like,
man, I mean,
nah.
nah, it's more like he brought you home a hooker for you to cheat on with. Now it's even. I don't know, but
Even in that situation, all right, this is really sick and cute. Like, thank you, but
I need you to move out.
you know what I mean? Like,
I need you to move out, but you can leave this girl here. What's your name? Holly. Nice to meet you.
and
You can
keep
have that
trying.
room over there.
I need you to keep shooting for the stars through the rest of the season, because if we make a Super Bowl run, we'll probably need some more field goals. So keep trying your hardest, and maybe, who knows? We'll see at the end of the year. But
You're
no
going over
chance
the
he's
game
resigning.
plan, and you see this kid Aubrey, who's a rookie and hasn't missed a kick all year. He made multiple 60-yarders in one game. He's automatic, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm sure they're in there watching tape on him. Well, he's like, all right, bet that up. All right. Yeah, I remember what it was like to be automatic and bang 50, 60 yarders. Let's do it. And
Back
he
when I
did
was
that.
young and stress free.
3 over 50, bro. 3. I didn't think he'd make 1. He made 3. So yeah, that's my game ball.
I was definitely in there hating the same way you were on the west side hating.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, here we go again. Let's see if you can actually get close. And then he's like banging 50 plus, and it's like, oh, wow, okay. Second, third, fourth time, you're like, wow, okay, we're all right. I used to get nervous about 40.
I was nervous about that last one. That was 10 yards away after he hit 351
I was too. Me and my dad were both like, bro, watch him just Jason Sanders.
Because it would only make sense.
Just doink this one.
And see, and this is what we're apologizing for. This is right here. This is why. But how about defense, man? Let's get some game balls on defense. What do you got? Honorary mention in game ball.
Oh, as a linebacker truther, I'm gonna do my honorable first. And my honorable, it's honestly somebody that I give it to every week, David Long Jr. My boy is just so consistent every single week. And the play I would give it to, actually, I know who you're gonna give yours to, so I don't wanna change it. But the specific play for David Long, I don't know. I don't want to just BS one off the top of my head. I just overall like how he's on every single run play. He crashes when he needs to crash. He shows up in the pass game. You're seeing him take away the middle of the field on a lot of these plays when Dak wants to just do a little quick dump off or whatever it is, and it's just not available. You're seeing him, I guess I would say, on that blitz that we watched. It was on a third down. We sent 6. David Long blew up the guard, almost blew the guard up into Dak, and that was enough time for Van Ginkel to peel up and make the play. So that's my honorable. And then my actual game ball's going to Aquaman. Him and Jalen Ramsey played all 66. Duke Riley has stepped into the Jerome Baker role, and he's just carrying it. He's doing, I'm not saying he's playing at Jerome's level, but there's not too much difference. And some might even argue that he's better against the pass, and he's taking away tight ends. He's taking away slots. He's taking away running backs. He's coming up and making plays against the run. He played all 66 along with Jalen, and then Brandon Jones, Deshaun Elliott played 65. X played 64.
So who's Aquaman?
Duke Riley.
Oh, okay. So
Have
game
you not
balls.
seen Jason Momoa, Cal Drogo?
Oh yeah. I mean, I just didn't know. You know, they all wear aqua, so I didn't know which aqua. You know.
Oh yeah, but he's aqua. He's Aquaman.
They just declared Amari Cooper out, like you said. Good thing I made like 4 wagers, including him.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Go ahead and flip those around while you talk about who your honorable mention and who your game ball goes to. I think I know though.
Nah, come on, you don't know. I'm giving the defensive special mention. I'm gonna go ahead and get the special mention to Andrew Van Ginkel, even though he could easily get a game ball.
Every week.
You know, every week he could get a game ball. That's the only reason I'm not going to, is because he could get it every week. But he's just making it look super easy, filling in as a pass rusher. People don't just do this. Linebackers don't just be pass rushers. You know what I mean? You had to specialize in it. And it's just amazing to watch him deliver consistently every single week. And he made a huge amount of plays, pressures. Him and Chubb were just crazy over there. And I could easily give it to Bradley Chubb as well. But
every week
I'll give it off of one play just because it was that outstanding of an effort in a play. Do you have an idea who it's going to be?
Deshaun Elliott.
Deshaun Elliott, man.
That's why I didn't want to take it when I was making mine, because that play is just, that's a play that I'm going to just show the kids 1.5 million times.
I might watch it every night before I go to bed.
You know what I mean?
And for those at home wondering, we're talking about the goal line stand where Tony Pollard is rushing outside left and Deshaun Elliott makes contact, rips him down, and keeps only the ball in Tony Pollard's like hands out of the end zone. Everything else crosses. And Zach Sealer comes in and puts a huge lick too on him. So shout out Zach Sealer for following up with backup. But always, that effort right there held them out of the end zone. And yeah, I thought to myself, like, well, whatever, look how close they are. Like, you know that it's probably going to get punched in anyways, but you never do know, huh? And that fullback lined up for the Dallas Cowboys and just dropped that ball on the ground, and we came up with it right away. I think Brandon Jones is the one that jumped on it. And just like that goal line stop became one of the most important plays in the game. And man, insane effort. and just like he's got to get that game ball. I want him to have that ball. Take that one home.
Absolutely.
Ended up making the world of difference in our game. So shout out to Sean Elliott.
With the effort. So I used to think that it was Flores that drafted all these high effort and found all these high effort undrafted free agents like the Van Ginkels, like the Sealers of the world. But now I'm starting to think it's really Greer, because you're seeing it post Flores. You're seeing it with Deshaun Elliott, who was, technically a Fangio signing, maybe a Greer signing, but he's the common denominator between all these guys. And I think that's something that doesn't get spoken about enough. The fact that everyone in our defense is going hard, no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the same thing, but a lot of these guys did come from that regime too, Like they were drafted to be guys that made plays on the ball, guys that put that 110% in. It came from Chris Greer. Also has a similar mindset. It did seem like Flores and Chris Greer were on the same page for drafting defensive talent, right?
Absolutely, they had to be.
We'll see a lot of that too.
Yeah, but even post Flow, I was kind of concerned with how the defense was going to go. Obviously, Fangio calmed that down quite a bit, but there's just no more discussion on whether Greer is good at his job or not. He is Uncle Chris. He's Mr. Greer. He's whatever you want to call him. He's safe.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've been a defender of his for years now, so I don't need to defend him anymore. I feel like it's gotten to the point where it's pretty easy to tell here. So
he did have you concerned with Deshaun Elliott, and early on you were a Deshaun Elliott naysayer. If you
not
recall,
because of his play, nothing to do with that.
If you recall,
yeah, we don't need to talk about that, but it was because of Lamar Jackson, which brings us to the Ravens game. Just close out baby. The predictions of preseason here. You said we would beat the Cowboys 21-17, very close. You also said Dak would have 4 interceptions, not so close.
I meant 4 sacks.
Okay, well, you were right then, if that's what you meant.
Yep. See that?
Yep. What was I gonna say? I think going into there, I had it. It was preseason, but going into it, it was feeling like we'd lose it. Preseason, I thought they were a good team as well, but I had it 28-20, still close within a score. I was wrong. You were right. At the end of the day, it looks like we're both going to be very close to our record prediction, but coming into the Ravens game, I had us winning 27-21. You had us winning 28-21. How do you feel about that today?
Horny.
Okay.
I think that's still applicable. I think if Javon Holland plays, we win by that, if not by 1 more touchdown. I think if Javon Holland doesn't play, it's going to be a little bit closer than that. So I don't know what the spread's looking like. I don't know where people are putting their money, but it'll get sticky quickly.
Yeah.
I would love to see the snowman.
I think he's going to play. I hope he's going to play. Turns out Jalen Waddle's out, right?
I'm okay with that, though. I'm a Cedric Wilson truther.
Yeah, but this is the way that the Ravens are set up, you really want to abuse them with the speed. So I wonder if they're going to opt for another Chosen Anderson or whatever his name is these days, Robbie Chosen.
I personally would like to run the living heck out of the ball and keep number 8 off the field. That way he can't make big plays.
I just wonder if they're going to let that happen or not. They've been fairly good against the run. You got the numbers in front of you?
I can pull them back up.
They've been fairly good against the run. They've been a very run-heavy offense themselves for the majority of the year, not just Lamar. And
yeah, they have the number 1 rushing offense while we have the number 5.
Yeah, they lost this running back though.
Defense. Yeah, Keaton Mitchell. He's explosive.
Tore his knee. It was awful too. He looked like his knee turned into a backwards L. And it was a non-contact as well. So It was very bad. And that was a big part of their, electric run game there. They're not to say it's going to be hindered, so it's not like the Browns lost Nick Chubb but it's a big hit to their offense. He was a big part of it, especially later on in the season here. We saw Lamar attempt to pass the ball top 3 amount of times he has the entire season on Monday night versus the 49ers, probably due to a lot of the fact that they lost this kid. You got Justice Hill, who's like the pass catching running back out there. Gus Edwards, who I've seen them use in short yardage situations and for the tough runs. And then, obviously you have to deal with Lamar. But
I was going to say, yes, you lost Keaton Mitchell, who was an explosive aspect to the running game, but Lamar's about as explosive as they come. I know he's not a running back, but he is just as part of the running game as Josh Allen is part of the running game up there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'd say more of a threat.
Electric. Yeah, because on any play, he can shake off your 3 best tacklers and slide.
But now you saw, like I said before the episode, I have Zay Flowers in fantasy. The most targets he's had in any game was 11, and it was once. And then he had 10 targets twice. He had 10 targets in
the offense.
No, yeah. He had 10 targets in the first half of this game versus the Niners. So, they want to pass the ball more. It looks like he might miss the game, actually. No telling yet. For fantasy, I kind of need him. I have him in both leagues that I'm in a championship with. So, but for the Dolphins, I wouldn't mind him missing.
Can you pick up Odell?
Nah, I ain't chancing the chip with Odell Beckham. You're out of your mind. No chance. I'll pick up the Chiefs practice squad running back before I do that.
I respect it.
But I know one thing is that the Ravens remember the game last year and that they feel like they probably should have won it, especially the defense. So your big talking point about the Ravens defense, I won't say. We know his name. Your
Kyle
boy.
Hamilton.
Yeah, I was just making sure we're on the same page here. Yep, Kyle Hamilton.
I fear him. I fear Patrick Queen. They have Jadeveon Clowney looking really scary.
Yeah, he does.
Raven stuff.
Sure does.
They got a lot of their whole D line, like their actual defensive line, not the outside linebackers and stuff. They're all like 350 to 380, bro, and they can move. So I know the Ravens. No one ever really has like the big namesake like how they used to have Ray Lewis and Ed Reed. I guess Patrick Queen's a big name like that, and Kyle Hamilton's getting there. Marlon Humphrey's is a fantastic corner, but like they're dope. I'm not a Ravens fan. I'll never be anything but a Dolphins fan, but I can respect that organization and the way that they've put teams together year over year, decade over decade, just about. They've adapted with the way the league adapts, and I believe they replaced their defensive coordinator. It was Wink Martindale for like ever, and they have somebody else right now that bounced between Michigan and Baltimore, but he's solid. And they look nuts. They throw a lot of different looks. They don't blitz as crazy as they used to blitz, but when they do, it's coming, and they're getting pressure with 4. So, I mean, any team that's getting pressure with 4 and has a secondary with a safety that can cover 2/3 of the field by himself, and the rest of your corners are pretty smart. I mean, you can't make a lot of mistakes. Kyle Hamilton will make us pay if Tua throws any of his little crackhead throws or floats anything or just kind of lets something sail off to the side or there's a wrong route. Like, he will jump it and he will grab it 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I forget, he was out the last time we played them, right? Last year.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a special talent. But
like, he's a Javon level talent.
I was just about to say, he's very Javon Holland like back there. You got to know where he is at all times. Changing, like we went over that, you said that we were going to win. I said we were going to win. How do you feel about it this week? Like, how do you feel about it now? It's not preseason anymore. Given all the injuries that we have, all the injuries that they have, given that this is pretty much an MVP maybe title fight. I don't personally think they're ever going to give Tua the MVP, but the odds have him top 4 still, and this would make a great case. If he goes on and puts on the 2 best games of his season versus the Ravens and the Bills, I could see there being more talk about it.
Right.
And then Lamar's obviously the front runner now. So we got that, and then it's also the number 1 seed in the AFC game. So it's a big deal. And then also, if you win this game, the Bills game is irrelevant to you because they cannot catch up. So, and you wanted that. That was part of your schedule prediction, is that we will not have to have our starters in the Bills game. So we win this game this weekend on Sunday. You get what you wanted. And I don't know. How do you feel? How do you feel currently?
I still feel pretty confident. I think it's going to be a close game. I mean, I had that as a 1 touchdown difference, so that's a pretty close game. I think it's going to come down to ultimately whoever wins the turnover battle. It's very cliche, but it's real. Both of our teams get pressure. Both of our teams get home. Both of our teams force turnovers. And both of our quarterbacks are dope, but if they get uncomfortable, they'll do dumb things. And whichever quarterback does more dumb things is going to lose because they're both excellent in their own ways. We're not expecting Tua to just start tucking it, 15 times for 200 yards like Lamar can and like Tua can if he wanted.
He does look slower than he's ever looked, though.
Absolutely. He's chugging along out there. I love it, though. Big thickness. But it's going to come down to if Tua doesn't make any crackhead throws and our rush gets home and Lamar throws a pick or two, we're going to win. But if Tua throws a pick or two, we let Lamar get busy on us and he doesn't turn the ball over, we're going to lose.
Yeah, I mean,
that's where Holland comes into play because Holland is both teams want to have as many of their game changers on the field as possible, obviously. So if we have Javon Holland on the field, that's just another guy that can generate a turnover. He can generate a big play on his lonesome. We have Ramsey for that. We have X for that. I know he had an off game and everyone hates him, but X is still a game changer.
I didn't even think it was that bad. Like people,
I hated how he played that ball.
Okay, it was half a centimeter away from being an interception. You know what I mean? Like if there's a player that I don't mind taking those risks, it's our corners, flat out. And it's a stupid rule, in my opinion, that when both people catch the ball, it always goes to the offensive player. But that was literally a hair away from being a pick. And if you don't want Xavier Howard trying to get the interception, then I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry to anyone who feels that they don't think that Xavier Howard should have tried to take it. Because
that's not my problem with it. I wanted him to take it. His body just kind of drifted in like about a step and a half. And that's where he lost position. If he would have kept running forward and kept his body straight and then jumped, he would have been under it enough, almost like that Devontae Parker interception, where he was so far underneath him, there was no way that.
I'm sure he's going to watch the film and think the exact same thing that you think. But
well, I hope you're listening, X. I love you, bro. But
9 out of 10 times that he's in that position and is turning around and has both hands in the air, I think he gets it in his hands at least. Maybe he doesn't catch it, but it goes into his hands. I agree. That's a chance that I'm willing to appreciate the player taking. It sucks that it ended the way it did, but I'll never be upset for that. Unless that starts happening every game where he gets mossed or beat like that and he almost has his hands on it, which isn't the case. Like that's just not something that's ever going to upset me. But the Ravens, I feel a little bit more worried. I mean, we do match up against them well. Specifically, I think we match up a little bit better against them than the Niners do. But man, who knows? Who knows what our offensive line is going to look like versus those guys? If it ends up being like how it looked like for the Niners and Brock Purdy after their left tackle Trent Williams went out, then it's going to be a nightmare. But if it looks like we just went against a great Dallas rush, and if we eliminate that the same way we did Dallas with our 4 backup linemen, or just get the ball out quick enough to where they are uncomfortable, I think we have a real shot. It's just tough that it's on the road, and it's tough that the last time we played them, we embarrassed the defense, and I know they're going to remember it, and I know they've been looking forward to this opportunity. Most teams that aren't in the same division don't get an opportunity the following year for sure to get revenge on a game like that,
Right.
So,
and I mean, semi banged up, but it's looking like Lester Cotton Wednesday didn't participate, that he was limited Thursday. Almost everyone was limited outside of Raheem and Jalen Waddle. They were both DNPs Wednesday and Thursday. But Achan, Teron, Robbie, Big Lester, Liam, Tyreek, Javon was limited both days. X was limited both days. Rob Hunt went from DNP to limited. Austin Jackson, Tua, AVG, all limited. So it's looking like we'll be good. On their end, it looks like Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen went from limited to full. So they're going to have both of those psychopaths flying at us. Zietler, their big guard, went
Who?
from DNP. Kevin Zietler.
Thank you.
Did you like him or something?
Nah, I just needed to hear that again.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's a Zeter, all right.
Yeah.
He went from DNP to limited. But Delshawn Phillips, Brandon Stevens, Zay Flowers, Jalen Armour Davis, straight DNPs. We saw Stevens getting a lot of playing time, so that seems like that would be a tough one for them. They had Kyle Hamilton, DNP, and he was limited, so he's trending up. Yeah, the rest of their guys are limited and trending up. So, I mean, if our O-line can actually piece it together and, have a full practice Friday, we're chilling.
Yeah, I think especially if Robert Hunt is available to come back, man, that would be huge.
Oh, my God, that would be huge.
Huge. And then, God willing, Tehran stays healthy. It's unfortunate, but Liam's the center for probably the rest of the year, unless he gets his job taken by the guy who hasn't played in 3 years, but we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Other than that, man, I would say get ahead early in this game because the Ravens play their best game when they're winning. They play from ahead as good as you can. So get ahead, force them to throw the ball constantly, and then try to attack them. And, you're going to have a spy on Lamar. It's probably going to have to be Duke Riley, which is not good in my opinion, but he's exceeded all of our expectations for a couple games straight now. So it's my long-term hesitancy in that more so than it is this short term. If you're going off of how he's played recently, you should feel confident. If you've seen him play for 3 years, maybe you understand, but we'll see how it goes, man. He got your game ball for the Dallas game, so
yeah, I'm fired up for him. It's obviously going to be a challenge. It's going to be a challenge for all the linebackers, David Long included. Even though he's had a really strong year, that's a very physical O-line, and we talk about how all of our losses were to physical teams. The Eagles won, still a scratch. Physical team that gets 0 flags is unrealistic, but the fact that we just played a pretty physical Dallas team and held our own and caught a dub, it made me a little bit more confident in this one. I mean, these guys are sending Kyle Van Noy at us. He's going to really want to do something, but at the same time, I don't really fear Van Noy the way I was fearing a lot of people on Dallas's defense. It's the other pieces that they have, but I think we actually match up pretty well with it. If our Robert Hunts of the world are back, having him in the interior where I feel like they're a little bit stronger, that balances us out.
Yeah, I'm not worried about.
But the edges, I'm not truthfully too concerned. Clowney,
I'm worried about.
yes,
I'm about to say. I'm worried about Clowney. I'm worried about Roquan Smith. I'm worried about Patrick Queen. They have who's that big dude that they have?
Travis Jones.
No.
Michael Pierce.
Yeah, Michael Pierce. Yeah.
Yeah, they're big as hell.
Yeah, they're big guys. So I'm interested to see what happens when a nose tackle lines up against Liam Eichenberg. That's twice his size. He already got thrown around last game.
We need Robert Hunt, bro.
He got picked up off the ground at one point last game by DeMarcus Lawrence. So,
are you backstepping on your Liam love?
No, if you like or celebrate what Liam's done, it's with the expectations you have for him, which are as low as possible. So, yeah, great. You made me happy because you did a little bit better than I thought was humanly possible for you, but that ain't enough still most of the time. So let's see how he fills in this time. I would be interested to see how they try to game plan for their offense outside of Lamar, just because Zay Flowers might not play. They lost Keaton Mitchell. They lost Mark Andrews, Devin Duvernay, so it's really going to be like a Gus Edwards Lamar show. They got Odell, but he really hasn't been used. And then you got Isaiah Likely, their tight end. So
I think it'll be really boring. I think they're going to do a lot the same way I'm talking about. I want us to play boring and just run the ball a million times, run a bunch of 12 personnel with Ingold and Durham Smythe. Like, I don't care what you got to do, but they want to keep the ball away from Tyreek without having to actually guard him. And the easiest way to do that is 3 yards from Gus Edwards 2-3 times in a row. And then
I don't think they can
swing or an option where Lamar cuts it up. Yeah, but that'll be the plan. And if that doesn't work early, and like you said, if we get up into a lead early, we take that away. I don't think they want to get into a passing game with us. They saw what happened last year when it became your passing game versus our passing game.
Yeah. I mean, he had an MVP game that game too. It just, our defense just played better than theirs, but
and 6 of them fang.
You contain the explosiveness of their offense, and you win the game, in my opinion. You make it to where you don't give up the 50-yard Lamar run, and you don't give up the slant to the house like you did last game for CeeDee Lamb in the beginning. You don't give up those plays, and you let them get these little 2-yard, 3-yard, 10-yard chunks every once in a while. I think you win the game. But it's in Baltimore, on the road, expected to be about 30 to 40 degrees, so who knows, man. No Jalen Waddle.
It can go any which way. What's your updated score prediction? If you had to change it, do you think we still win?
No, I think we match up well against them, and it makes it closer. But I feel like we lose this one. It's on the road against what I think is the best team in the AFC. So
with the MVP,
with what looks like to be the MVP. So. It would have to take a better game than what we played against Dallas, in my opinion. Would you agree with that?
That was a very boring Tua game.
I mean, he's still...
And that's 293, was it? And like 1 touchdown?
First season that Patrick Mahomes came out, he beat everybody over the top so bad that by the halfway through the season, they never allowed it again. And then he started being the quarterback who threw the most passes behind the line of scrimmage in the league. And then he started having to find out a balance of when he could do one and when he could do the other. Well, Now that teams are sick and tired of watching the Tyreek Hill highlight tape, it's going to Durham, it's going to Jeff Wilson, it's going to Achane, it's going to Berrios, it's going to Claypool, it's going to anybody who's running a 3-yard route underneath. Alec Ingold, you know what I mean?
So it's the Brock Purdy style.
I mean, he's similar. You know, when you average the most yards per attempt on your throws, teams are going to try and take away the big chunks and force you to beat them underneath. And, you know, we don't have Christian McCaffrey, but hey, we got the second best running back in the league in every single statistic. So let's do it.
Let's run it up. That guy gives me confidence too. This seems like a big game for him.
Yep.
If he starts getting loose early and he hits
Raheem Mostert, who you're referring to?
Yeah. Oh yeah, big Heem. If Heem breaks off a couple of 15, 20 yarders early, you know for a fact he's going to hit that 50-plus guy sometime late. It's going to open things up everywhere, and it's going to, again, just keep Lamar off the field. And the easiest way to stop that guy is to keep the ball out of his hands. Big Heem day. This is going to be another playoff vibey game like you were talking about earlier.
Oh, yeah. The atmosphere is going to be insane. It's going to be crowded. It's 2 teams. This is another playoff game pretty much before the playoffs, which is good and bad. You know, we get to run it the most competitive stretch of the year right before we go into a do or die situation. So could be worse. And then you win this game. The Bills are absolutely not winning the AFC East. You lose this game and it all comes down to that last game. So we'll see how it goes. And so you're saying we're going to win and we're going to lose?
I want to win.
So you're saying we win?
I'm okay with a close loss as long as it's physical, as long as we compete, as long as we get out of there healthy. But I don't know, man. I feel like we smacked this thing up.
I think we pair up against them well, but it's just we got to execute early and get a lead on them and force them into passing situations from the jump. And I think that's
win the turnover battle.
Oh my God, and the referee battle.
We're not going to win the referee battle, and I'm okay with that. But as long for one little rut in the season, it felt like our running backs weren't practicing ball security, and it seems like we've cleaned that up. So keep that cleaned up.
You got any wood next to you to knock on?
Hey, yeah. We
all right, just making sure.
Keep that up. Tua, keep playing smart. 0 crackhead Tua throws.
0.
Don't even give him a chance.
0, 0, 0.
And we'll be good. But if they break any of those rules, it ain't gonna be straight.
Yep. All right. Well,
but we're almost there.
Make sure you follow me on Twitter at YFinsYY. Follow Chief Sut at Chief Sut. Follow the podcast at Day1 Dolphins. And Sut?
It's for the win. For Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Miami has the Dolphins, the greatest football team. We take the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen. We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl, 'cause we're the Miami Dolphins.